Let's take a look at solving quadratic equations using the square root method. We can use this method when we see that both sides of the equation are perfect squares. Now it works when the right-hand side is not a perfect square, but it also works when it is, and it's prettier when it is. So let's do this one. You see, and the key to using it is the variable is squared by itself. And so we take the square root of both sides. So you take the square root of x squared and plus or minus the square root of the other side then. On the left-hand side, because the power of what's inside equals the index of the root, you get the x. And on the right-hand side, the square root of 16 is 4. Now the plus or minus sign, and this is where students often have an issue, you have to add the plus or minus sign when you are taking the square root of both sides. If the square root already exists, then it's just positive. But if you're actually doing the taking of the square root, you have to add that plus or minus sign, because taking the square root of this side here is saying what number times itself gives you 16, and that answer is plus or minus 4. And so that's why we add the plus or minus there. So that is saying then that x is equal to 4 and x is equal to negative 4. And if you substitute those back into the original equation, you'll see that they both make a true statement. For this example, we still have a perfect square number on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have our variable within parentheses, but it is squared. So we can take the square root of both sides. Remember, plus and minus on the side with the number. And that gives us then on the left-hand side x plus 5, because this power of 2 matches the index of the root, and so the x plus 5 pops out. Plus or minus, what's the square root of 36 is 6. So now you have this really interesting piece here occurring. You're going to need to subtract 5 from both sides to get this x by itself. So let's go ahead and subtract 5. And you get minus 5 plus or minus 6. And what does that mean? It means you get x equals negative 5 plus 6, and you get x equals negative 5 minus 6. And you get two solutions. Now go ahead and simplify that. On the left, you get positive 1, and on the right, you get negative 11. Let's check those up in the original equation. Put a 1 in here. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 squared is 36. That works. Put a negative 11 in. Negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. So that works as well. So we have two solutions. You can make equations look as if you can use the square root method. So factor one side to a perfect pair of two factors that are the same. Or when you're given an equation, just be ready to recognize the fact that you have a quantity squared, and you can take that square root of both sides with the plus or minus, and it makes it a little faster than factoring or perhaps using the quadratic formula. So that's it. Hope you have a great day.